Hey guys, I'm back with another 10 metal bands you haven't heard but should. I've been meaning to make this video for a few days, but I've been a bit busy with Garden of Eyes stuff and this and that. Been reviewing a bunch of stuff. This year is evidently going to be a great one despite lockdown and that. So we have some really cool stuff sent over by Sure Shot Works on the most part again, who deal with lots of the coolest labels and that, so it's great for me to be able to check this stuff out. And first up we have Inflabitan from Norway. Now, if memory serves right, it's quite early in the morning and it's really warm, so if I seem a bit kind of flushed out, then that will be why. But this is really good stuff. This started as a more traditional black metal band. It's been going a little bit, but on this album they've incorporated some thrashier parts. I think maybe Aura Noir, Gehenna, that kind of stuff. Very Nordic sounding, and so these song titles, you can't really read that, but things like Ego Side, Introvert, Vile Domain, The Great Surrender, they give you a kind of idea of a fairly sort of nihilistic and maybe spiritual edge to it, but that's me just pretentious trying to dissect a few song titles. But yeah, really good stuff anyway. If you like the sort of Nordic, thrashier, old school black metal, sort of like mid-90s kind of thing, then that's definitely worth a listen. Now, staying on the kind of northern sounding black thrash stuff, we have Valdaudr, or Valdaudr. I always forget how, I think that's an Icelandic letter in there. Maybe it's not, I don't know. But anyway, this is Dropstalin, which is some really good, icy, melodic, but then there's, again, some kind of thrashy tinges in here. It's quite a hard band to think of comparisons to. Excuse the shit show that is the case. I put this in, I guess, stuff, as I've said in a couple videos, without the case, and then I just sort of find cases to house the CD in so it doesn't get damaged or anything. But yeah, anyway, without further ado on this one, this is, again, from Norway. I'm from the song titles, or if not, they're a band that speaks Norwegian, but I'm pretty confident these are from Norway. If you like Norwegian black metal, again, with some melodic touches, like, imagine if Vindir was a bit thrashy, maybe, something like that. It's a really interesting album. Again, really good stuff, and definitely worth a listen. Next, we have Xeper, who, if memory serves me right again, is from Italy. Oh yeah, all these releases have been Soul Seller Records so far. This is a bit more traditional black metal, but with some interesting atmospheric touches. Think post The Mysteries Mayhem, some Dødheimsgard, that kind of stuff. Definitely a very atmospheric listen, definitely an interesting one. There's some unique ideas on this, and plenty of traditional Nordic black metal has been borrowed in the influences, but this isn't just sort of cheap rip-off stuff. There's some unique stuff. The Italians always have quite a good ability to inject a bit of a horror atmosphere, which I think is present maybe in a more biblical sense looking at the artwork. But yeah, I really like this one. I think it's definitely an album that if you listen to a few times, there's plenty beneath the surface. And next up we have something a bit more atmospheric. This one is from Replenish Records and Supreme Chaos Records. This is Old Growth's new album. As you might be able to guess, it's very atmospheric. Now, usually I'm quite funny with atmospheric black metal. If it's sort of too, I guess, flowery or soft sounding, to me it ends up more in the pile of like indie almost. But this thing definitely has some really killer riffs, and if you like stuff like Panopticon and Sao, maybe dialing back the folk side, and Winterfilleth and stuff like that, Agalok, there's a lot to enjoy about this. It's a lengthy album from what I remember. I think it's about an hour long. But yeah, if you like those kind of very natural, foresty kind of atmospherics, then I'm sure this will appeal. It's really good atmospheric black metal, and definitely still has riffs and stuff. It's not just wishy-washy feedback with loads of delay on it. There's definitely some great songwriting on that one, which ties in nicely with Forsman or Forsman. I never know how the Icelandic alphabet works. This is on Van Records from Germany, and as you know, I'm a big fan of Icelandic black metal. This band takes those kinds of weird dissonant melodies into a maybe more approachable direction than, say, Svartadalfi and Sinmara and stuff. Maybe a bit more in the camp of like Misthaming and those kinds of bands. Von Laus, who I've mentioned here before, rather than like Scafé and such, it's got a quite a pleasant feeling to it. There's still a lot of dissonance on this album, but it's generally quite like resplendent sounding. It's definitely it hits the ear very nicely. There's a lot of great songwriting, as always, from Iceland. The musicianship is incredible, and this is the band's debut release with a title that I'm not even going to attempt at risk of making a fool of myself. So yeah, definitely check out this one. Another great release to the ever-growing storm or sort of volcanic eruption that's going on in Iceland, and yeah, superb stuff. Iceland is definitely one of the leading countries in black metal at the minute, as far as I'm concerned. Next up, we have Nith, or Niht, however you say that. This one I need a new case for, because this one, fuck this one. This was actually a new case, and when taking out the tray, being a complete barbarian, I just ripped half of this bit off, so I need to give a new case to this really good CD. This is a German black metal album. It's 7 tracks, each consisting of a word that I, generally speaking, don't know the meaning of. And again, on Van Records. Now, if you like German black metal, you'll know it's usually rather melancholic. It's got a lot of melodies and harmonies and stuff. This definitely fits that kind of thing. It doesn't feel like too depressive, as some German bands tend to gravitate towards. This definitely is more in the vein of early 90s black metal, and definitely German. It has a lot of the German characteristics in how they compose riffs, with usually quite a simplistic rhythm structure and then some nice lead work. Yeah, it's a really good album from Niht, a band, again, like some of these, completely new to me and definitely worthwhile. Next up, we have a band called Cambion, and this is on Valdaudr Productions. This album was a really nice surprise, because I had no idea what I was getting into when I put it on. The artwork itself looks very sort of occulty and mystical, but then the logo looks much more kind of thrash metal, so I was sort of confused as to what I was getting into. The band photos didn't enlighten me anymore, as they're sort of very stern-looking trio of fellows, and I didn't know, you know, that could be anything metal. And I was really nicely surprised when thinking that this might be thrash, which is obviously always welcome. I'm wearing a Thrash Bang shirt now. But when it sort of hit me, it was just this wall of death metal in the very filthy veins of bands like Adoria and Angel Corpse and the like. Absolutely incredible. My brain has just completely died on me. Imprecation is another one that could be drawn as a comparison for this band. If you like that really, really aggressive, just insane death metal, this is definitely worth a listen. As I say, thinking that I was going to get something a bit more like simple thrash, that definitely kind of knocked my jaw down. And yeah, really good death metal, and in a really interesting vein that it's not just kind of not one you see maybe a path travelled so much these days. But yeah, Conflagrate the Celestial Refugium. That's a mouthful, but it is a killer album. Next up, we have some actual thrash metal from Aggravator. This is on Empire Records. And this band, along with their amazing artwork, which sort of crisscrosses, because this looks very kind of death metal-y in my opinion. This is very old school thrash worship. Think early Creator, Sodom, Destruction, of course, first couple Slayer records, that kind of thing. If you like your old school thrash, which I definitely do, these guys nail it. They've got a lot of the nuances, and the production and stuff really works with it. It's not just old school riffs, sort of recycled. There's definitely a complete package and a really good album here, so definitely check out Aggravator if you're a thrasher seeking for the old school ways. My cat's getting very angry at me. Next up we have Syning, or Syning, on Territor Possessions. Great label, of course, from Norway. This is a 3-track. At first I was going to say an EP, but they're very long tracks, so it's kind of a harder one to define. This is a really nice self-titled piece of ambient black metal. Now, the interesting thing, I guess, with this one is when I say ambient black metal, you're probably thinking kind of one synth line over a really, really repetitive, dull riff, which just is not the case here. There's been some really good ambient black metal in the last couple years, like Ringare is one that really stands out to me. But these guys just have some very daunting, uncomfortable atmospherics, which are aided by these very doomy kind of organ-type synths. It's really, really haunting and otherworldly listen, and I think it shows that ambient black metal can be a lot more than just sort of a Logic Pro synth and a boring riff. This is really great stuff from Syning, and definitely an album to check out if you like ambient black metal with a lot of doom, like definitely a lot of traditional doom. Last we have from Scotland, Coffin Mulch with their Septic Funeral EP. And this is the CD on Redefining Darkness. Now, off the top of my head, the vinyl was done by At War with False Noise in Scotland. Redefining Darkness in the US did the CD, and Caligari also in the US did the tape. Feel free to correct me if I got that one wrong. Yeah, great death doom. It's slow, crawling, kind of guttural stuff. Very Swedish guitar tone, which, as you probably know by now, I appreciate. Those HM2 riffs. The riffs on this thing are killer, though. While borrowing the Swedish tone, the overall feel of the EP is more in the camp of like Autopsy and the doomier incantation music and stuff like that. Really great stuff, absolute belter of an EP, and I can't wait to hear more from this band. Yeah, definitely Scotland seems to have a really interesting scene that maybe one wouldn't think of as a hot spot of extreme metal, but Coffin Mulch definitely show there's some great death metal over there, along with some others as well. I'm hoping to have some more Scottish bands on here, so I won't go into that too much. But yeah, definitely check out Coffin Mulch if you like your old school, slightly doomy, slightly Sweded death metal, killer stuff. Yeah, that was 10 bands you haven't heard but should of the metal variety. Again, apologies if I've been a slight bit... my brain's been drifting a bit. It's just when it's hot, the weather, it's about 10 degrees, which for me is just like, oh, I'm dying already. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you want to stick around and check out some other underground stuff, that's always welcome. Most importantly, of course, go and support the bands and labels mentioned. And a little end note, just something cool if you're in the UK or plan on travelling here when the plague allows it. There's a new record shop in Bristol, which is the complete opposite side of the country to me, but I plan on making the pilgrimage at some point, called Black City Records. Nice Voivod reference from War and Pain as well. I've already spoken to the owner. They've taken some Garden of Eyes vinyl from me very, very kindly of them, but that's not why I'm plugging it. It's simply a case of an all-metal record shop other than Crypt of the Wizard is something maybe we don't see so often in the UK, and looks like an excellent place to go and get some great records. I've got some friends over that side of the country who've queued up for ages on the first day of opening, bought tons of records. And it's really heartwarming to see something great for the scene and the bands and the labels, everyone involved. So yeah, check out Black City Records. Just a sort of additional point to this one. Until next time, stay metal.